Up until the 14th of December 2024, Real Grade was the reigning champion of Gunpla, and debatably the reigning champion of all Mecha model kits. Year after year, kit after kit, they just kept getting better and better. You could never make a mistake when grabbing a new Real Grade kit. Every time a Real Grade was announced, excitement. Every time a Real Grade was released, absolute sellout everywhere. But what happened on the 14th of December 2024? Well, that is this right here, the Real Grade Akatsuki Gundam Oowashi unit. Now, you might be wondering what exactly is wrong with this. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Well, there's a couple of issues that some people do not like, but there's one that definitely stands head and shoulders above them. If you go back in time to the original Real Grade kits, they had a thing called early Real Grade syndrome. It's because they were based on a thing called the advanced MS joint, which is basically a pre-molded inner frame, which over time broke down and got loose, and you ended up with a marionette instead of a model kit. Bandai phased these out for tiny little awesome mini master grades, which were absolutely perfect from the ground up. With the Akatsuki right here, Bandai has reused some, not all, of one of the earliest Real Grade frames, the one from the Real Grade Strike. But does that make this kit an absolute bust? Not necessarily. And I guess it's time, well, to check it out. As usual, this video right here was sponsored by HobbyLink Japan, so I will throw a link to this item down there in the description. And if you do want to see the build of this, I did do it in a completely separate video, so if you want to see the ins and outs of what makes this model kit what it is, you can check that out. But now, let's move right on in to the aesthetics. So jumping on right into the aesthetics on the Real Grade Akatsuki Gundam Oowashi unit. And speaking of the Oowashi unit, I'm whipping that off straight away and we'll take a look at that in the accessories. But for now, we're just going to be taking a look at the Gundam itself. And this is one incredibly unique Gundam in a lot of different ways. So first off, that right there is what it looks like out of the box. It is kind of hard to light, I will mention that, because the way it catches and reflects light, and it is reflect because it is almost mirrored, is a difficult thing to light, to say the least. So this chrome-plated finish is, well, it's a double-edged sword, definitely. It is good and it is bad, kind of at the same time. The good aspects is, nothing quite looks like chrome plating, does it? This right here is very, very shiny and very, very reflective in a way paint can never truly pull off. It kind of gives that almost real gold kind of feel, or at least real gold-plated kind of feel. However, it does end up clogging up some of the detail, like in the shoulders here. So it does mean some of the detail is very hard to see, and some of it is actually filled in by the metallic plating, so it ends up looking a little bit on the almost, well, not so sharp kind of side. Now anyway, there is a little bit of footage of what this looks like outside, because like I mentioned, lighting it is hard, especially in studio, a dark one like mine right here. That point lighting tends to leave it looking almost liquid and high contrast bright versus dark, whereas if you get more of an actual full diffuse lighting like a white room or outside, you truly get to see all of the gold that's on it. So again, it is a double-edged sword. It looks like absolutely nothing else when it comes to the brightness and the contrast and the overall gold metal look, but we do lose a lot of detail, and in some lights it doesn't look that great, and from a distance this kit looks critically cheap. I mean, all the detail is absolutely lost, the color separation in the gold you can't really make out, and it looks no different than a cheap plated high grade or a no grade or something like that. It doesn't really scream premium from a distance. But when you do get in really close, you can see that this does have all of that Real Grade level of detail that we've come to love. Now, we'll gloss over because it was said in the build, and you may have seen that already, but this isn't entirely made out of the B joint or the advanced joint that did ridiculously affect early Real Grades, giving them early Real Grade syndrome. It's just in the legs and the arms, and it's only really the hips that is an issue. The torso is all new stuff, the head is all new stuff, the feet is all brand new, the shoulders are too. So this kit right here is a bit of a funny hybrid. Let's get it spinning. So anyway, there's the Real Grade Akatsuki in that full 360 spin, so you can see every angle of it. Now, one thing that does, well, this kit right here does benefit from is the fact that when it is plated and it is moving, it keeps catching the light in a very kind of fancy sort of way. Now, this looks like a Gundam that you'd see in a jewelry shop or a high-end perfume or fashion shop. That's the kind of vibe it's actually giving off, especially when spinning like this and it's glinting and catching the light perfectly. So it does kind of run that almost high fashion line of looking simultaneously expensive and cheap as shit at the same time. Even though they can be a little bit difficult to make out in that sea of shiny gold, there is a lot of nice detailing on this kit. We've got some nice vents with nice covers over them. Some grey comes from underneath on some aspects, especially on the bottoms of the feet. Again, like I mentioned, a lot of the molded detail on this is a little bit lost in the plating because the plating's a little thick on top. The non-gold parts still look really nice. Like I mentioned in the build of this, we do have fully color separated eyes and head cameras. There is the option to use stickers in here, but what I opted to do was use a blue Gundam marker to kind of maintain the fact that these are all color separated while adding a bit of actual metallic to it. The blue piece inside is just more of a kind of pearlescent blue, and it didn't look like it was going to catch the light too well, and I didn't want to resort to the stickers. But there is a bunch of choices. The color separation on the Akatsuki right here is quite nice. Of course, the gold is what you see at first, as well as the super reflective yellow gold you see on the vast majority of this kit. There is also this nice brushed, almost matte gold that you see in some places like on the chest vents. A very nice gold. What might be a little less hard to see is there is two shades on the actual gold. One is a little bit more orangey than the other, like on the front skirting right there. The bottom section is in the yellow gold, the top section then is in the orange gold. So there is two colors there. The blacks on this kit are in super high gloss, not quite as gloss as the fully reflective gold, and the red sections like what you're seeing up there on top of the cockpit, that actually has a little bit of kind of glittery metallicness in it, but it's a little kind of hard to tell. Now when it comes to the model kit sins on this right here, that being the nubs, seams, and mold lines, nubs you would expect to be a whole lot worse because it is a metallic plated kit, so it does mean when you're snipping it out on the runner, you're seeing a lot of little cut yellow spots. But once you actually do pop it together, none of these are actually too obvious on the actual finished build, which is always a very, very happy thing. There is no seams to talk about really whatsoever. There's none where there shouldn't be. The killer here is fucking mold lines. Oh my god. I don't know how Bandai thought this would be a good idea. You cannot clean those up without ruining this kit. And they, themselves, ruin the kit. There's some pretty much all over the place if you look hard enough. Those ones are the worst offender. Those ones right there. But the more you search around, the more you will find. None are as in your face as the ones on the ankle armors. Overall, it's relatively unscathed, but it is worth pointing those out. The kit itself seems to be 100% color accurate. This is the sheet of stickers in here. These are mainly just kind of sticker style decals. I did not use any of these in the actual build. I'm not sure how they'll turn out because stickers on that gold, that could look funny, I guess. You know, we're going to find out right now. Those are the usual kind of silver ones. I did pop some, for example's sake, up on the shoulder right there. These do actually look good. They've always looked good on real grades. They just catch the light oh so nicely, and it adds a little bit of silver into the gold, which is cool. I like that. That's nice. Let's try some decals. So yeah, I whipped out the decals and I got as far as putting one on and they look as bad as I thought they would. Wow, Bandai made some weird decisions with this kit. Anyway, I did pop one up on the shoulder right there and look at that. Wow, you could never tell that's a sticker. That's blatant sarcasm. Whoa. What the hell? Just look at how that, like, absolutely, I guess, destroys the gold underneath and kind of frosts it. And all you see is hovering sticker. It looks like it's hovering. It's like a weird optical illusion. Man, wow. Strange decisions. So jumping on into a bit of a size comparison right now, and there it is side by side with two standard size high grade kits, being the high grade Orc 78-2 on the left and the high grade Gundam Mark II on the right. A couple of seed kits being the high grade Rising Freedom on the left, Immortal Justice on the right, and finally the, as far as I know, last couple of real grade kits to come out, that is the Force Impulse Spec 2 on the left and the Gundam Epion from Gundam Wing on the right hand side. Accessories time, and here's absolutely everything that comes inside the box with the real grade Akatsuki Gundam Oowashi unit. First up is the Oowashi unit itself. We do have a full dedicated stand in here, which is the Action Base 7. 2 beam sabers, beam rifle, shield, 5 alternate hands, including the 2 attached onto the Akatsuki already. That is a grand total of 7. So we're going to start right into it with the Oowashi unit itself. This is quite impressive and possibly one of the most impressive aspects about the kit. Again, we do have those similar colors. That is the yellow reflective gold everywhere. We do have that nice subdued, almost brushed gold that's right there towards the front vents. And there is a contrasting orange reflective gold as well, so same as the actual mobile suit itself. The red is here as well, the black, as well as the white detailing. This unit right here is a very nice opening cockpit section. Just pops open like so, and there's nice detail inside. When it comes to the articulation, the wings can actually rotate like so, move up and down like that. Well, not quite like that. I guess that's the glory of C-clips, isn't it? They're not so reliable. Anyway, it can flap up and there it goes again. hold on, I'm guessing this just, this kit is actually quite poorly designed. Yes, these can move up like so, but you have to support them, because there's almost part where they're kind of like squared off, where they just eject themselves. Bandai. The cannon sections are on interesting splitting style joints, which can move them down like that. We also have a locking mechanism in underneath. The thruster here has mild up and down movement, and we do have a 3mm hole in the bottom, which is compatible with the included stand, which is a phenomenal stand, I will admit. I love the Action Base 7, mainly because it has this action right here, which most stands do not have, which means you get a little bit of tilt in the air. They're not too great for heavier kits. Mine's struggling a little bit with the high-grade Destiny Gundam with the Zeus silhouette, but for smaller things like this, absolutely no issue. So you're able to like move this in pretty much whatever way that you want, which is great, but the best part is it has a tilt for those nice flight positions in the air. It'd be nicer if the wing wasn't backwards. There we go. When it comes to attaching this onto the Akatsuki, it's simple enough. You just move up the cockpit section just like so out of the way. You then drop down the cannons in a kind of a 2-point kind of spinning mechanism to get them pointing backwards just like so, and then it just slots right on into the back of the Akatsuki. And I will mention, this is the same as the Real Grade Strikes backpack adapter, so the Ale Strike pack is compatible with this kit, but I don't have it handy right now. Now I will also mention, there is a little hatch on the back of the Akatsuki for attaching on the stand. This is attached on by a C-clip, and ooh, I always thought C-clips were called C-clips because they're C-shaped, but it actually turns out the C is an abbreviation for crap clips, because they're crap. Anyway, there it is attached on, and this really does fill out the kit perfectly and looks extremely nice. I will also mention that there is a premium Bandai pack coming out for this kit as well. The sad aspect about that is you can't actually get a bundle where you get the Gundam and the pack in the pack together, which would be nice. So it means if you do get one of those, you have to use it with the Akatsuki that you have right now, or get another real grade Akatsuki Gundam, which, well, good luck to you, that's not going to be that easy. So again, lots of strange decisions with this particular real grade. So next up in here, it's the hands. So far I've had these attached on the whole time. This kit does have dedicated fists, which look incredibly nice. As for the options in here, we've also got widespread open hands, which do look incredibly unique. There is the front section, and there is a round on the back. The spread on these is very nice, and will always look good in nice poses. As for swapping these, usual ball joint routine of popping the hand out like this and popping another one in, simple. As for the other hands we have in here, we've got a pair of standard holding hands, these for the beam sabers, and only a right hand beam rifle holding hand, so no left hand beam usage for you. Moving on to the equipment, first off, we've got a pair of beam sabers. Now, these are not standard whatsoever, and I love them for that fact. So here's the handle. So they're a nice kind of squared off handle with some gold sections towards the end. The color separation is, well, very nice for beam sabers, and these are those cool flat beams which have the kind of like 00 Gundam or Gundam Age vibe to them. These also attach end-to-end like we've seen so many times with Gundam Seed beam sabers, but the attachment and the overall look is so much nicer and so much more premium. This looks great. Getting these into the hands is easy. All you have to do is split the hand in the usual ham sandwich style way, the two sides of the hand being the bread and the beam saber being the ham. You just put it together like a sandwich, and there you go. Just pop it into the wrist like this. Posing this kit up as for right now is quite good. Those hip joints did not give much resistance, I will tell you that. That felt a little too easy, and overall that right there is what it looks like. So what a cool beam saber. Overall, it does look great so far. It is catching the light in a crazy kind of way, and I am, well, impressed about how it looks. Nice beam saber. When this is not in use, to just pop off the beams, you don't actually split this in half, and even though there are two mounting points on both side skirts, you actually just mount it as one full unit into the left hand side just like this. It attaches in, then slides to lock into position so it holds on nicely, and this is a nice attachment and it looks great on there. Pretty cool beam saber, definitely. Next up in here we have the beam rifle, which is one of the oddest things ever. If you haven't seen the build video, just look at it for a second now and guess what just doesn't look right, okay? If you guess the barrel, you're right. It's in a shiny weird plastic compared to the rest because it's off the Strike Runner for next to no reason whatsoever. This is all nice with great detailing. This has a big mold line around it and cut out fairly nastily. We do have a white section up front right here. Nothing in the instructions said anything about a sticker for in there, which just seems quite odd to me. Nothing on this does move, but we do have a cool little rack down here which you can use with the beam saber. So the beam saber pops in like that, then locks into position like that. So you can use the beam attached into that just like so. That's cool, like a beam bayonet. I'm going to leave that on, actually. That looks really cool in there. Getting this into the hand again is the sandwich routine. There is only a right hand holding hand for this weapon in here, so it's only right-handed only. It holds in very well, attaching it on is super simple, and getting into a pose, once again, is simple too. Hips not feeling great, yet again. Anyway, there's what it looks like attached into the hand, and this is nice, big, thick, and cool, and overall it is awesome, besides the fact that you may have to kind of clean up that barrel a little bit more than you would with the rest of it, but otherwise, looking good. So next up in here is the shield, and again, looking very, very nice in matching colors to the mobile suit itself. That is the gloss white, gloss black, super reflective yellow gold, and around in the back this just looks spectacular. The layering of the dark grey parts over the gold gives some nice little kind of matte versus gold reflectiveness, especially those little slot cutouts there. Those trusses look amazing, and overall this is cool. Again, we've got a weird leftover crappy bit with horrible mold lines from the strike. Why do they keep doing this? I have no idea. Some strange decisions. Great shield marred by this one little bit. Getting the shield attached on does require attaching on the holding hand. The handle slots into the holding hand just like so, and then that funny little bit of a joint bit attaches into the rear of the elbow. Now the elbow armor, forearm, rear armor kind of bit is a little bit not that secure, so this does feel a little bit funny. Could be worse, could be better. Anyway, getting that into a pose is quite fluid yet again, feeling a little bit too fluid if you know what I mean, but overall working out quite well, and there we go. There is that shield attached, and this does reflect the light so nicely. Again, it's a little hard to film this, the white looks a little bit blown out, just trying to work with the lights and darks on this, but overall still, it does work out nicely. It's a crazy kit, that is for sure. Alright, so on to what might just be the spiciest part of the review. So, this is the articulation, and that should be where this fails. I've seen videos of people pop this down on a surface, and its leg just split open and it just fall over. That's not happening, but we know early real grade syndrome is kind of a thing that builds up over time. So the more you move it, the more it loosens. So here we go. Let's just loosen them up a bit. So yeah, you can actually prevent this by just not moving your kit too much. So I do recommend when you get these kits to just pose it once. Because I'm reviewing it, I kind of have to do this shit and I don't want to. I would prefer to just leave it in a nice pose, solid forever. I did that with my real grade Astray and it's never gone, well, astray on me. My desk here isn't as slippy as the glass one over yonder, so this may not happen. Actually, it's not happening like, oh, there you go, that's it. Shitty hips. So yeah, that sort of thing will happen with the knees as well. Not as bad, but it will happen. The more you use them, the more these will loosen up. And the same goes with the elbow. Sometimes to the point where they can't support their weapons anymore, which is a little bit sad. So yeah, it's already getting into the floppy droppy zone already. Yeah, look, down it goes, down it goes, down it goes. Not great. So anyway, as for the articulation, some of it's absolutely fantastic. Like the neck on here is treble jointed. Look, it can look look at that. It can look like all the way down. I love it. Anyway, yes. So there is this joint here that allows it to do that. There's a central hinge joint that's a little bit harder to access because the other two are a little bit looser. And then you've got your big old ball joint on top. So it's got a mega giggity goo right there. That is nice. And that's not going to loosen up because that is not early real grade parts. Same does go for the shoulder. This has multiple joints going on in there, so you can really pull it out like so. So it can move forward, move back, and then move up. And that's just the shoulder itself. Then the arm can move as well up to that point. So it can really move that arm around. If you want a little bit more than that, you can spin the shoulder at that point. We do have full spin at the upper arm, double jointed yet wonky feeling elbow on this, which does feel like it has a little bit of a splitting mechanism somewhere, maybe on the elbow, which makes the elbow actually a little bit kind of crappy and a little bit likely to fall off. The wrist joint then, we do have a little bit of something right here, not a lot of it, and the usual ball joint wrist. Also on the shoulder, we do have a little bit of a hatch that pops open. Well, did that. Let's attempt that again. That pops open just like so. You can see a little bit of a nub on the metallic there and closes like that. It's not really a lot. Moving down now to the torso, and we've got a great ab crunch to the front. That's fantastic. Again, the ab crunch, or should I say the torso itself, always not disappoints me, brings me down because it's so phenomenal and it's an idea of what we could have had if Bandai wasn't screwing around. Anyway, there's side to side crunch, so it's really, really good. And we do have the rotation here at the waist as well. So this feels great, looks great, and does some great posing. This thing can really look down, can't it? We also have a thruster at the back that can move up and down like so. So things get a little bit sad from here because the rig around the edge here, which has these attached on, isn't the greatest. This is a new piece, but it's an older design. So there's up and down and forward and back at these skirts. These ones are fine. Well, maybe they're not fine. Yeah, that's the issue. See that? They're just attached onto ball joints. So if you're just even trying to raise these up a little bit in order to kick the legs up, you're going to find you get this quite a bit, where they just drop on off. These just aren't good attachments. These are just standard hip joints as well, so there's no dropping mechanism to them. The kick up and to the back is quite good. It's got a good range of motion, I'll say, when those skirtings are gone. But when they're on there, it doesn't have that. This leg actually does that thing they used to do, where the more you move it, the more it just kind of escapes. That's what rubbery plastic does. Anyway, continuing on, it can pull off the splits. Can it hold the splits? Hell no. It's just going to drop on. Oh, man. Okay, I will mention I'm not exaggerating. And yes, this kit is definitely delicate, so don't mess around with it like I am. Again, I'm just kind of putting it through the ringer because it's review time. But yeah, this is quite bad. There's the knee. Oh, yeah. That is the old real grade frame for you. You can be very, very, very gentle with it, but over time it just degrades and degrades and degrades, and it's just going to get crubby. The hands down here, they're not too bad. There's the up and down at the toe. Did I say hand? This is driving me around the bend. These are feet, and the feet are actually fantastic because they're new. So we do have that kind of new design that we've got rolling sections at the front and back, so you get a lot of motion out of the feet. This is just attached down via ball joint, so it just kind of keeps it out of the way a bit, but yeah, I guess test pose time. So yeah, getting this into a pose is just as miserable as you'd expect it to be. The legs just are kind of crappy all around. The elbows aren't the greatest either, and the biggest issue is the fact that some joints are a little bit stiff while others are ridiculously loose, so it can be hard to get what you want, where you want it, when you want it. Some of the new stuff is great, like the neck and the torso, but besides that, it's mainly a bit of a flop, to be blatantly honest. Now, I mean that in more ways than one. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I can't believe I'm saying this about a real grade kit, but this is silver tier. I tried going through all sorts of mental gymnastics to get this to gold, because I felt like silver just seemed so low. But the thing is, at the end of the day, that is all it's worth. When you go to aesthetics, sure, whether or not you like plated gold, that does come down to subjective opinion. But objectively, you have to be like, what were Bandai thinking by allowing mold lines to be in prominent positions like the front of the ankle armor? It's on the side skirtings, it's on the upper thighs. Just, you can't do anything about that. You'd ruin the plating. There's also the aspect that the stickers do not work on the plated material. You stick them on and they go opaque or kind of frosty. Semi-translucent, which doesn't work with the actual mirror reflection on the surface, so they just look like they're stuck on there, cheapening it even further. There's also the issue I do find that, like, up close this does look premium for the most part, it does look cool, the mix of different colors is nice, but from a distance this looks cheap as hell. It looks like something you'd get for 1,000 yen at some kind of like event, like a plated entry grade or high grade or something like that. Nothing special, it does not look premium. Again, in close nice, from distance very cheap. When it comes to the accessories, these are really nice, but most of them have a caveat of a, what were you thinking? Like, for example, the backpack is really nice. It's really cool with lots of nice joints and lots of nice detail, but the wings are attached down by C-clips that if you just push up slightly, they drop off. You take the beam rifle, the whole thing is really nice, but they use the old barrel which doesn't match with it and looks odd. You take the shield and it's absolutely gorgeous, but then they added on the old attachment point. And that attachment point attaches into the elbow armor, is attached onto an old entry grade frame. So when you try to remove the shield, you just pull the armor off. Finally then, when it does come to the articulation on this, it's absolute bollocks. That's the only word I can use to describe it. The hips are going already. Replacing those will get rid of some of your woes, but not much really. Just the adherence or the holding of the actual parts onto the old frame parts is bad compared to actual plastic parts. The whole thing doesn't play nicely together and it starts to fall over eventually. The hips are shot in mine already. The knees aren't doing much better, and the armor's already starting to just rain off all over the place. All the old early real grade symptoms are here, and that is so sad. In 2024, I don't know what Bandai were thinking. This could have been awesome. All they had to do is make a new internal structure for arms and a new internal structure for legs, and it would have been fine. All the other issues like the mold lines and C-clips, you could kind of forget. It just is that advanced joint fucking this thing's arse into oblivion. So yeah, all in all, it's definitely very not great, but it's not all negative. There is still some positive aspects to it. The head on this looks phenomenal. When you get in really close, the color separation, the reflective gold on brush gold looks nice, and there is a cool, awesome Gundam in there. It's just, the half-bakedness really does bring it down. It's so sad what happened here with this kid. Would I recommend it or not? It's hard to say. It comes down to your own preference. I would still go for it personally myself. It's a cool looking real grade up close. It's unique. The backpack is cool. It just has a lot of issues and it's not as premium as we're used to. Anyway, I got mine through Hobby Link Japan, link is down there in the description. As always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews and videos, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another one. Once again, I can't finish this video right here without special thanks to the channel members and the patrons over on Patreon, including Simon Paskin, Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Joe, RG59061, ShadowWolf179, Van Fawn, and Scotty Thomas.